In the cold silence of the Russian steppe, a distant rumble breaks through the wind. It is not a tank, not a jet, but something far more powerful. A massive eight-wheeled machine, rolling steadily over mud, snow, and frozen terrain, unshaken, unstoppable, and unmistakably savage. This is the MAZ-537, Ural, the Iron Giant of the Red Army. A vehicle built to carry the heaviest weapons of the Cold War. Born in the 1950s, at the height of superpower tension, the MAZ-537 was never designed to be beautiful or elegant. It was designed to perform one task, to hold the unmovable. When the Soviet Union needed to transport tanks, missiles, and mobile command centers across the largest country on Earth, engineers at the Minsk automobile plant created a legend. The MAZ-537 story begins in 1956, as a direct evolution of its predecessor, the MAZ-535. While the 535 had already proven capable, the 537 took everything further: more power, more torque, and a higher payload capacity. It became the cornerstone of the USSR's heavy transport fleet. Under its massive hood sat a D-12A V12 diesel engine, a 12-cylinder powerhouse producing around 525 horsepower. That might not sound extreme by today's standards, but this engine was built for endurance, not speed. It could move loads exceeding 50 tons, and with special trailers, even up to 100 tons, including main battle tanks like the T-62, T-72, and T-80. The design was pure Soviet pragmatism, simple, rugged, and nearly indestructible. Its 8x8 drivetrain gave it tremendous traction, allowing it to move over deep snow, mud, and even desert sands. Each wheel had independent torsion bar suspension, giving this colossal truck unexpected flexibility over rough ground. Inside the cabin, there was nothing luxurious, just metal, gadgets, and the faint smell of diesel and oil. The MAZ-537 could seat up to 4 crew members, a driver, a co-driver, and 2 operators responsible for monitoring the light and coordinating with escort vehicles. There was no air conditioning, no comfort, no electronics, only the sound of the engine and the vibration of raw power beneath their boots. But it was that raw simplicity that made the MAZ-537 almost immortal. In the harshest climates, from the frozen tundras of Siberia to the dry plains of Kazakhstan, it just kept going. Its durability made it not just a transport truck, but a strategic enabler. It could carry ICBM launchers, armored divisions, and even breech-lying systems, ensuring that the Soviet Army could mobilize anywhere, anytime. The MAZ-537 was often seen towing the MAZ-5247G semi-trailer, forming a massive road train over 25 meters long. This combination could carry tanks weighing more than 30 tons without strain. And when it wasn't moving armored beasts, it was hauling mobile missile systems, like the early models of the SS-20 Sabre intermediate-range ballistic missile. It was this capability that made the MAZ-537 one of the most important logistical vehicles of the Cold War. Behind every Soviet parade showing lines of tanks and missiles, behind every massive deployment on the frontiers, there was a MAZ-537 working silently in the background, unseen but essential. The name, Ural, comes from the nickname given to some of its production variants when assembly moved to the Kurgan oil tractor plant, KZKT, near the Ural Mountains. Here, new models like the MAZ-537G and MAZ-537D introduced refinements, better transmissions, new winches, and electric start systems, while keeping the semi-indomitable heart. Even NATO took notice. When Western analysts first saw the MAZ-537, they were stunned by its sheer size and capacity. It wasn't just a truck, it was a mobile fortress, capable of dragging a main battle tank across a terrain where most Western vehicles would sink or stall. The West had heavy tractors like the American M911 or the British Antar, but none matched the 537's combination of mobility and brute strength. During the latter decades of the Cold War, The MAZ-537 became a familiar sight on airbases, missile launch complexes, and training grounds. It taught MiG and Sukhoi fighters on runways, hauled nuclear missiles to launch pads, and pulled mobile radar systems into position. When the Soviet military needed something moved, the answer was always the same, calling the 537. Its impact went far beyond the military. In civilian use, the same chassis was adapted for heavy construction, oil exploration, and rescue operations in Siberia. Even after the collapse of the Soviet Union, dozens of MAZ-537s remained in service across Russia, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, and Belarus, many still running strong decades later. Operators who have worked with the MAZ-537 describe it as a machine with a soul. It is loud, stubborn, and requires respect. But once mastered, it feels unstoppable, a mechanical bear, slow and deliberate, but capable of carrying the weight of nations. At 22 tons empty, nearly 9 meters long, and 3 meters wide, the MAZ-537 dominates any road it is on. Its maximum speed, around 55 km per hour, might not impress a car enthusiast, but its purpose was never speed. It was built for power, endurance, and authority. Even today, more than 60 years after its debut, the MAZ-537 remains in limited service and in the hands of collectors, museums, and military reserves. It has inspired modern designs like the KZ-KT-7428 and MZ-KT-74135, which continue the heavy haul tradition for the Russian armed forces. But none have captured the same legendary aura. The MAZ-537 stands as a symbol of Soviet industrial might, a monument to the age when machines were overbuilt, overpowered, and made to last forever. Its thunderous engine, its towering frame, and its unyielding strength make it one of the most iconic military vehicles ever produced. Not glamorous, not fast, but unforgettable. The MAZ-537, Ural, the unstoppable force that carried the Soviet war machine on its back. A relic of the Cold War, still roaring, still alive. Still reminding the world that true power doesn't need to be loud, it just needs to keep moving.